Many of you have been asking this question: should I use an international broker or should I just go with the local broker, a South African broker? Now, in today's episode, we just want to break down the pros and the cons of using international as well as a local broker. Over the years, there has been a lot of issues with regards to how local brokers operate, and we have seen a bit of a decline in terms of people favoring to use local brokers, and they're like, now maybe we should look into international brokers, because I think, lack of a better word, people will be saying that they've been screwed, right? But I just wanted to put into your attention, and as you know, that every video that I do is an inspiration that I get from you guys during the live stream. So bear in mind that what I'm going to discuss today rather is something that is inspired by some of your comments during the live stream. Just want to say I appreciate you guys, and as we are doing that, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we drop another episode like this. So local or international, what do you prefer? I would like to know in the comment section. Please, let's keep it professional and respectful so that we can inspire other people to come in and also have their views on it. Now, over the years, we've been seeing brokers, especially local brokers, erupting from nowhere, and most of them, they don't, take time to stay in the game, and they shut down. And a lot of people are complaining that they shut down with our money. We are having court cases against the broker because we want our money and whatnot, right? But what really makes South Africa to be a very attractive market for people to start having brokers? But you need to understand something. Some of the local brokers, you think they are local brokers, those are actually white labels. And what I mean about white labels is that they don't actually have an ownership of the brokerage. So what happens is you would find that there is a broker, and you find that there's someone that is having a good branding and a good marketing tools with him, and he can come in partnership with a certain broker to say, look, I'm going to use your license, I'm going to use your technology, I'm going to use your CRM, you name it, right? Your liquidity and whatnot. And all I'm going to come in is that I'm going to set it up in such a way that it looks as if I'm owning it, right? So I can call it MJ Givens Capital, right? And you are thinking that MJ is in charge of this business, but you only to find out MJ is only in charge of the branding and the marketing and the operation at some point. And obviously it depends on the agreement between MJ and the actual broker, right? The man behind the scenes, right? So I'm gonna keep it as simple as it can be and as basic as it can be, right? So you would find that MJ enters into an agreement with so and so, the certain company, to say, I want to be the front. So it's in most cases, it's like you are a front, right? You are doing white label, right? Of which, look, if you are transparent about it, I don't see any problem with it, as long as people understand that this is what you're doing now. The whole issue comes in when you are now trying to be the main man, and when there are issues now, you start saying, no, look, I actually wanted to let you guys know that this is not me. This is actually so and so. I'm just doing branding and marketing. But when you're offering those services in the first place, you didn't see a need to disclose to people that this is your agreement, right? Well, it's all up to how a person sees it. But in my opinion, that's how I see it coming in as fair. And there are reasons why we are having a lot of white label brokers in South Africa, because it's ridiculously expensive to own a broker, right? I have a friend that had a broker, that was owning a broker, and I've seen how stressful it was to him, how much he needed to put in some money to make sure that the broker stays afloat, licensing, the CRM technology, meta codes. It's fairly expensive. So most guys want to come in and say, look, I've got a huge following. A lot of people follow me. I started maybe as an IB. So you do your operations, your costing and whatnot. And what I do on my side is I'll do the branding and the marketing. I'll push it on my side. And it's either we are going to do profit split after all costs deducted, right? So you'd find that MJ Givens broker and the actual broker, they have this agreement that once now we have calculated all the operation cost, all the expenses any cost that has to do with the business, the licensing and all that, right? When I started trading, there were not so many options out there when it comes to brokers. Well, as a full-time trader, speaker, as well as a streamer on YouTube, I come across different traders all over the world. And the ultimate question they always ask me is, MJ, which broker do you use and why? My answer is always simple to them. I use Okta because of the Okta's ecosystem gives and offers everything a trader needs. Not only do they provide fast withdrawals to seamless integrations, you have a community that is always out there for you. As a trader, remember, you don't need disruptions. All you need to focus on is on your trading journey. Also, there's a hype in crypto right now. There's a volatile market that is coming in the crypto community and in the crypto space, and people want to take advantage of the volatile market that we see currently. Look, you don't have to look no further. Okta is here to provide that for you. There are a lot of crypto assets and cryptocurrencies that you can trade. Just have a look at the list that Okta offers here. So many that you can look at and you can take advantage of. Not so many brokers offer so many cryptocurrencies that you can trade. Not only did Okta provide fair trading conditions for me, but they've also helped me grow as a trader, and I know they can do that for you too. Why don't you sign up today? Use the link down below, sign up and fund your account, and if you need 100% bonus, use this promo code trade with MJ and you will receive your 100% bonus on your deposit. See you on the other side. Cheers. Right, after we have paid that, the money that is now there as net profit, we are going to split that. And obviously I cannot get into that because that will be an agreement between the MJ Givens broker and the other broker. However, why are we having a lot of South African traders want to get into local brokers? You must remember one thing. South Africa is one of, if not the most country that trades Nasdaq. We trade Nasdaq like nobody's business, right? Because we like the volatility that comes with it, right? And most local brokers, they will offer you that at the low spread, right? Another thing is fast withdrawals, same day withdrawals. South African traders like that. So that's what makes them to run into local brokers, right? The other thing we need to look into is the ZAR accounts. So most international brokers might not offer the ZAR account, but the local broker goes to an extent of giving you a ZAR account, right? So most guys with the research that I've made would say the ZAR account psychologically makes sense for them, because when they know I'm losing 1,000 rand, it's 1,000 rand, I can relate to it. My emotions can relate to it as in, like, if now I lose $100, right, for example, I might not have the same emotions, and you will find that $100 is more than 1,000 rands, right? I won't have the same emotions, and I always think that it's not a lot of money. So, they look at it in this way, that there's not much feelings attached to when it's a dollar account and when it's a ZAR account, which it never makes sense to me. But look, we have to respect how people see things. They see it differently. With me, it's money is money. It doesn't matter whether it's dollars or whether it's rand, right? That's how I have wired my system, and my approach is always money is money. It doesn't matter whether it's in dollars, whether it's in Aussie, or whether it's in pounds. Money is money, right? So you find a lot of people flocking into local brokers because of their one ZAR account, fast withdrawals. But I think over the years, we have seen international brokers also try to keep up, right? You're looking at brokers that are giving you first same time withdrawals. I mean, Okta, for instance. And I know many of you will say, MJ, during this episode, you're going to talk about the broker that I've sponsored this video, right? Absolutely. I mean, it goes without saying that if I'm going to enter into a business with someone, what I normally look at is how durable is this product. And what I mean about a product, I mean the broker itself, right? So when I went to partner with Okta, I looked at durability. That is this a product that I can trust? I looked at the whole regulatory framework around how the broker is being positioned, right? So I looked at that as well. How long has the broker been in this space, right? So I'm looking at all the 12 years the broker is being around, what are the glitches. Obviously, you can never find a perfect business. You will always find a business that is trying to adjust whenever they are facing issues, right? So I look into that. So when it comes to brokers, I normally say sometimes give it time to look at how many years it's being operating. And please don't get me wrong, there are new brokers, there are new products, because by me saying this, I'm not saying that new brokers or new products should not be tried because they are new. What I'm saying is, as much as we are trying to there are pros and cons of trying a new thing, right? And it goes without saying that if you try something new, you are either going to learn the hard way or you're going to find appreciation out of that product, right? So most South African brokers, they come in for a year, they cannot operate, then they shut down, right? And now the problem is with the white label guy, right? So I was telling you about a friend of mine that was owning a broker. He was not fronting, it was his broker. He had ownership into the broker, right? So it was not a white label, which makes it easier for him to make certain decisions. Because if it's a white label, you don't actually have control over that business in actual fact, right? You can control the branding in the market and going on, but how they can set up things, it will be entirely to the one who's actually holding the license. He's the liquidity provider. He's the one paying for operations, costing the expenses. He's the one who's making sure that everything is being paid, right? So how can we combat this as South African traders, right? With so many to choose from, what are the things that one can look into? Like I said, sometimes look at how many years this broker is being in place, because it shows you that it wants to stay in business, right? That is just how I see it. So you look at how long it's being in the place, and you look at regulation. Is this broker regulated? And I always prefer brokers that are multi-regulated, meaning to say they are not only regulated in South Africa by the FSCA, but ISIC is there, FCA is also there. So you find many regulatory boards regulating this broker. Again, it gives you an idea that you're dealing with a big broker, right? And I don't want to go into the sentiments of types of brokers, whether it's a book, a B book, a C book. If you want me to break it down, the difference between the A book, the B book, and the C book, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll be gladly to do so for you, right? So you look at how long a broker has been around. You also look at how it's being regulated, right? Because what is important as well is if it's regulated by many regulatory board, it simply means that it's difficult for one to screw you, because every time they do something, the regulatory body is saying, hey, we are watching what you're doing and we are going to take away your license, right? So it's always good to look at that. The other thing that I also look at is different types of instruments that a broker would be offering, right? Because you want a wide range of instruments and assets to trade. You cannot only focus on, and again, it also depends on your appetite as a trader. You cannot, for myself, for an example, I like trading indices, stocks. I like looking at crypto. I like looking at currency pairs, indices, and commodities, right? So a broker that offers me that with low spreads, it's doable, right? And that's what I'm getting from Okta. If I want to trade shares or stocks, they are there. Commodities, they are there. Crypto is there and is traded also over the weekends, right? So those are the things I look at, because I always want to see how I can diversify my portfolio and also reassess my exposure, right? When it comes to my trading career or when it comes to my trading business. And the other thing that most people look at, and I think in South Africa, this is where we lack most, right? Lack of customer support, right? A lot of people that come to me and complain about South African brokers is that, look, you will write a letter to them, you will write something on the customer support, someone will say, okay, fine, we'll come back to you, and they never come back to you, and it's frustrating a lot of people. So you also need to look at the broker when it comes to the type of level of support they can give you, right? So you need a broker that would, look, if you are facing problems, because we're dealing with money here, what if you cannot close your trades? There's a glitch in the system or something, right? It's always good to go and support, and you get that immediate response. And you can always rely on Trustpilot. I mean, come on, there's Trustpilot where you can always look at the reviews, right? You can go on Hello Peter, look at what people say about this particular broker, right? So it is always important to look at that. But in my opinion, you'll find that most South African brokers, they are not excelling on Trustpilot. They are not excelling also on Hello Peter. There's always complaints. Is there a room to improve? Yes, absolutely. Am I saying local is not lekker? That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I think there's a lot of room for South African brokers to improve, as well as international. Don't get me wrong, even international brokers, when they come here, they normally think South Africa is a place where I can make a quick buck, and it's not always about that, right? So I see it this way, that South African brokers have a lot to improve, especially when it comes to customer support and the whole regulation process, right? Because you would find that this broker is using 3 types of licenses and you don't know which one is which, and it creates a whole lot of confusion at the end of the day, right? So I think it's just a matter of doing research, and again, you're having a lot of local brokers shutting down every now and then, and that is not a good sign in the industry to say, why are they shutting down? International brokers are also shutting down, but when they shut down, you'd find that they are shutting down only in South Africa, right? We've seen recent big brokers shutting down in South Africa, but they are continuing in other nations, right? But with South African brokers, if it's shut down in South Africa, most probably did not even exist outside the borders of South Africa, and that is a problem, and I think that's where we need to improve as well. So some of these things that we see these brokers lack from, we need to have input and give them, and they must also open a room for us to give our input, right, about how they can make improvements, because you can only improve and learn when you allow people that consume your product to give you feedback about your product, right? So there's a whole lot of things that are happening in the brokerage space, especially also again in the prop firm space, right? Prop firms are also erupting from Norway, and we have seen with the recent shutdown of my frozen funds, I call it my Forex fund, right? We have seen that a lot of people were disappointed. I was fairly disappointed about that, because I was using them as well, and look, I did not have any affiliate with them, but I was just enjoying the way I was using them, and I was referring a lot of people there, even though I was not benefiting a cent from it. But at the end of the day, when it shut down, people came to me and said, MJ, that prop firm that you recommended, look at what it's doing now. And so I'm very cautious right now when I talk about this type of things, brokers and prop firms and whatnot, but I can fairly be confident where I am right now, right? I mean, I have partnered with Octa, and you can see the value that they are trying to give unto traders, especially education. I mean, our partnership went beyond just, MJ, do you need a sports car? Do you need what? Do you need materialistic things? I'm not about that, and Octa was also not about that on the negotiation table. It was all about, how can I give back to the people that are consuming your products, they're consuming your services, and how do we give back to them, and how can you use me as an instrument? And you can see we are fairly trying to do as much as we can, especially now getting into the mainstream media as well, to try to educate people about our industry as much as we can. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I always say, if you want me to drop another episode that is interesting and that you feel like it needs to be discussed at that particular time, do so by commenting on the comment section, and we'll see what we can do. Another thing that I want to mention to you is that if you need an Octa account, the link is down on the description. You can use this promo code TRADE with MJ for 100% bonus. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the live stream. Cheers.